Hey there, this is Coach Troy with Tate Fitness, and welcome back to another episode. Today, I'm going to be talking about another steroid, an anabolic androgenic steroid that goes way back in the day, a very classic steroid, and that's Primobolan. Primobolan, also known as Metenolone, and the drug comes in two different forms. The Metenolone Enanthate, which is a long-acting ester for the injectable version, and the Metenolone Acetate, which comes in an oral form. Now we'll go over some of the history of Primobolan. It was first marketed in 1962 by the pharmaceutical company Squibb in the United States, actually, but it was never really released in the US. It was directly transferred to another company called Schering Pharmaceuticals, which now Schering is called Bayer Pharmaceuticals. But when it was first brought out in the US market, it was trying to be brought out, like I said, was never actually released. It was called Nibal Depot. And it was out in the European market, like I said, by Bayer Pharmaceuticals, all the way through the 60s and 70s, up and through almost the 1990s, until the anti-doping agencies for like the Olympic Games and all the committees for the training committees, or I should say the committees that do the sports facilitations things, they basically banned Primobolan completely off the market. Now it's only found in Japan, Uruguay, basically just a few countries in this whole world you can actually find real Primobolan now, because it's really faked actually in the underground world. There's a lot of fakes, so be really careful. Now I'll go over some of the medical issues or medical uses of Primobolan. It was used for muscle wasting purposes for patients that were pre and post-op, for muscle wasting cachectic states in patients. It was also for post-menopausal women, also advanced breast cancer in women they used Primobolan for. In really rare cases, way back in the day, they used it for infants and young children who had a failure to, I should say, thrive or have the abundance for growing purposes. So they just had deficiencies of just anabolic or anabolism properties of hypertrophy for muscle. So they had some kind of muscle wasting issue or muscle, I won't say muscular dystrophy per se, but issues of that, they used Primobolan for. It actually helped. So they used like I said, the oral consumption of Primobolan and the intramuscular version for a lot of these different patients back then. Now I'll go over some of the pharmacology and chemical structure of Primobolan. It's Metenolone Enanthate in the injectable version, like I already mentioned, and Metenolone Acetate for the oral consumption. It's a DHT derivative, dihydrotestosterone derivative steroid, so it's in the DHT family. It has the double position of the carbon 1 and carbon 2 that's positioned there, and the carbolic acid ester positioned in the 17th beta hydroxy group as far as the molecular structure goes. Very similar to the proviron that I mentioned in my last video, due to having the same kind of chemical structure like I was mentioning. 17 beta hydroxy 1 alpha methyl 5A Anderson 3-1 anabolic steroid is basically the full-on chemical structure of the metabolites, of how this metabolism of how the pharmacokinetics of how it would be broken down into the system. If you go as far as chemical structure goes, for the Methenolone and acetate in the oral form, goes down through the methylated system in the body, how it gets broken down. But also, due to these factors, you're going to have some kind of side effects, obviously. Even though Primobolan is actually the most well-tolerated anabolic androgenic steroid out there for men and women. And that's not for me to say go out and go get your Primobolan and take ample amounts of it because you're going to be fine with it. It's not going to cause any irreparable damage, because that's not true. Anything anabolic or androgenic, even though this is low androgenicity and low as far as anabolic functions go for the estrogenicity too. It doesn't mean more is okay and you're gonna be fine. That's not what I'm saying here. Because I'm not, like I said, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not condoning any of this kind of stuff. I'm just giving out information here and letting you guys know what I think about the functions of and mechanics of these, of the pharmacology and the structure of what these things can do. The half-life of the Metenolone Acetate, Primobolan Acetate, is 4 to 6 hours, roughly speaking, through the methylated system, through the digestive system of the body, how it gets broken down through the liver and the kidneys. The enanthate form, Metenolone Enanthate, is very similar to testosterone. So it's got that 5 to 8 day cleaving factor of it staying into the body, into the system. Now, it is a DHT derivative, but it doesn't 5-alpha reductase. It's more of a 3-alpha reductase because it's weaker due to the 17th beta carbolic acid ester in the carbon 1 and carbon 2 position, as I was mentioning before. That makes this anabolic and androgenic steroid weaker. It's because 5-alpha reductase steroids, as far as a 5-alpha metabolite or metabolism, steroid metabolism through the body, is going to have a higher punch level of DHT derivatives, dihydrotestosterone. Now we're talking about like nandrolone, for example. It goes into dihydronandrolone as far as a 5-alpha reductase, as far as that conversion goes. It's going to be stronger that way too. But this is not DECA. This is not testosterone. By no means is it even comparable to those things. It's not an analog of testosterone. This is Primobolan, completely different animal here as far as the chemical structure goes. So due to that carbon 1 and carbon 2 position and the 3-alpha reductase instead of the 5, it makes it a weaker steroid, a weaker component. But women take this drug more than men, especially in the bodybuilding and fitness industry. And women to women per se, depending on genetic potentiality, genetic translation of the drug, who that woman is that's taking it, they're gonna get probably more side effects than the typical man would be taking it, for example, okay? In low dosages, they should be okay. And again, I'm not condoning this. I'm just giving off of reference of the consumption of what it could do to somebody, okay? But in lower amounts, it seems to be more tolerable. But higher amounts, you're gonna get symptoms of androgenic alopecia, losing hair, acne. There is some rare cases of ASIH, anabolic steroid-induced hypogonadism. There's really rare cases of hepatotoxicity, even though this is not really a hepatotoxic drug. And it's not very liver toxic, like I said, because the hepatotoxicity is very low. And it's not a very estrogenic drug either. But no one takes Primobolan by itself. Hardly ever. The women take it with Anavar and Proviron and other drugs and maybe some AIs. The men take it with testosterone usually, or with EQ, or with Dianabol, So depending on what you're taking it with, changes the whole frequency and gives it a different multifactorial aptitude on what it can do as far as projectionally speaking, okay? Changes the whole thing of this, the dynamics of things, which is going to conclude into more anabolic or androgenicity side effects of things pertaining to the person that's taking it. But anyways, I can go on and on all day about what it can do and can't do depending on what you're doing with it, etc. Primobolan per se is a pretty safe compound. But anyways, if you wanted to learn more about what Primobolan is and what it can do, also on different anabolics and androgens or growth hormone, insulin, whatever the case is, you can get in touch with me here at the email below or the Instagram. The IG is also put here, and let me know. Let me know what you think. Please leave comments in the comment section, and thank you very much for watching this video. Take care. Hope to talk to you soon, and see you later. Bye-bye.